Welcome back. Secretary of State Antony Blinken calling on China to provide a level playing field for American business. He met with Shanghai's Communist Party secretary earlier this morning. Blinken now travels to Beijing, where he will meet with senior Chinese Communist Party officials, including China's foreign minister, tomorrow. It's not clear if he'll be meeting with Xi Jinping, but Blinken says that he is expected to bring up the fentanyl crisis to officials. Joining me right now is the 70th Secretary of State of America and Fox News contributor, Secretary Mike Pompeo. Mr. Secretary, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for being here this morning.
Maria, it's great to be with you this morning as well.
Well, here we are, another trip of cabinet members to China. What are they getting out of all of these meetings? It feels like the U.S. is begging China for some communication. What is your assessment of what Blinken is saying on the ground in China right now?
Maria, this is talk for the sake of talk. And frankly, I think the Biden administration is just hoping they can get through the next handful of months without something exploding in Asia in the same way it has in the Middle East and in Europe, right? Two wars on the precipice of a third. And so I think Secretary Blinken has gone there today to, if he talks about fentanyl or fair business treatment, 3.5 years of the Biden administration, nothing has been done to actually achieve that. There's been no action that has imposed costs on the Chinese Communist Party that give even a remote chance that Secretary Blinken can, through lip service to the Chinese Communist Party, achieve anything on behalf of the American people. I think this is talk for the sake of talk. I think he's really sending a message, hey, hang on, we're going to have an election in November, and then we'll come back at this, and we'll have 4 more years of the Chinese Communist Party running largely unchecked throughout the Pacific and out throughout Asia. Totally unchecked on his watch, that's for sure. A surveillance balloon, a COVID cover-up, intellectual property theft, fentanyl flowing into America. Even the TikTok stance from the administration is not believable, because the Biden-Harris re-election campaign says that they will stay on TikTok, even after Joe Biden signed legislation yesterday to force Chinese parent company ByteDance to sell the social media app or face a U.S. ban. TikTok is vowing to challenge this law in court. The legislation, of course, part of the $95 billion foreign aid package, which I want to get your take on as well. But it did include $8 billion for the Indo-Pacific region. Your thoughts on the TikTok dilemma here, Secretary, as this administration claims it's being tough on China, it's staying on TikTok and doing TikTok videos ahead of the election. It's really quite something, Maria, that you say that there's a tool of Chinese propaganda being foisted on the American people, including our children, and then you go on that social media account and try to draw people to that very Chinese propaganda machine. It's hypocritical. If President Biden actually believes that this is a risk to the United States of America, it makes absolutely no sense. But frankly, it's consistent with the Biden administration's national security policy. It is very little bark and zero bite. Yeah. And this is the kind of thing I think our adversaries can see. And this is the reason that we're so challenged today. And the American people can feel it. We shouldn't forget, we have fighting-age male Chinese Communist Party members infiltrating our southern border, and we have no idea who they are and where they are. This is at scale, and this is truly dangerous. Someday, Maria, we will all look back on these 4 years of the Biden administration's border policy, and we will regret it more than we can even imagine today.
Yeah, I can imagine, because, Christopher Wray keeps telling us that he's worried about a terrorist attack on U.S. soil because of some of the people who we have no idea what their intentions are. On the Chinese nationals, we don't know what they're doing here either. It feels like Xi Jinping is creating a little mini army with the 25,000 just since October, on top of another 25,000 the year earlier. But I want to get back to this $95 billion foreign aid package. I know that you were supportive of sending aid to Ukraine, supportive of sending aid to Israel. But part of that package, $9 billion to Gaza, is being criticized by some. Here is my interview, a portion of it, with Senators Mike Lee and Rick Scott. Watch this.
We know if money goes into Gaza, it's going to Hamas. They're still holding American hostages and American bodies. Hamas is. So I'm going to look at the bill. I'm going to see if we can separate it. I'm going to see if I can get my amendment on the bills.
Under no circumstances would I vote for the bill as passed by the House of Representatives yesterday. This is a really good deal for Ukraine and Zelensky. It's a really good deal for Hamas, which stands to receive up to $9 billion of this $95 billion aid package.
Now, yesterday I spoke with General Jack Keane. He said, no, we're not going to see the money go to Hamas, but we're not sure. Will Hamas get in the way of that money that's supposed to go to Gaza?
Well, Maria, sign me up for being skeptical of the Biden administration's capacity to deny Hamas resources, or for that matter, the Iranian regime resources. We've seen them give billions and billions of dollars to the Iranians, and we got October 7th as a result of that absolute refusal to impose cost on Tehran and the Islamic Republic of Iran. So I'm worried about that, too. Net, I think this was important. I think it's absolutely critical that we win in Europe. It's important that we and the Israelis win in the Middle East. And your point about the money that went to the Asian region as part of that bill as well, I think that's good. Sign me up for being in support of that, but it's not enough. Last thought, Maria. The funds that will go to support the European war effort to push back against Vladimir Putin's aggression have to be used on tools that will actually permit them to win. It cannot be the case that 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, we're right back where we are, where we've said you can have these weapons, but you can't use them to actually impose cost on Russia. That's a loser's game, and we should never play that in America.
Yeah, and we're also wondering about Joe Biden's so-called ironclad support for Israel. I mean, just a couple of weeks after he basically condemned Benjamin Netanyahu in public sight, trying to get him to do a ceasefire, even though we haven't heard a peep out of the other side about these hostages, that we pray that they're still alive. I know you were recently in Israel, Secretary. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is slamming the anti-Israel protests happening across the country on college campuses. Watch this.
What's happening on America's college campuses is horrific. Anti-Semitic mobs have taken over leading universities. The response of several university presidents was shameful. Now, fortunately, state, local, federal officials, many of them have responded differently, but there has to be more. More has to be done. It has to be done not only because they attack Israel, that's bad enough. It's also, when you listen to them, it's also because they say not only death to Israel, death to the Jews, but death to America.
And what has the Biden administration done about this? Nothing. I mean, they're saying that, you know, we support Israel, and in the same sentence, they're making it clear that they don't support Netanyahu. An Israeli minister also said this, quote, "The U.S. is not projecting strength under Biden's leadership, and it's harming Israel and other countries. If I were an American citizen with the right to vote, I would vote for Trump and Republicans." Secretary, your thoughts?
Maria, you laid out a pretty strong case. You began by describing President Biden as anything but ironclad support of Israel. There could be no truer sentiment. Yesterday, his assistant secretary, a woman named Barbara Leaf, assistant secretary for the Middle East, Barbara Leaf, gave some remarks mentioned about the Middle East and Gaza, and mentioned neither Hamas nor the hostages, nor the fact that American lives were lost there. They have grabbed the wrong end of the stick in the Middle East. Contrast 3.5 years ago, where we built out the Abraham Accords, we had a movement towards more stability and peace, and today the Middle East is aflame. We should not forget for one moment, Hezbollah still rules in Lebanon. Hamas is still deeply in control in Gaza until we permit the Israelis to conduct the attacks that they need to conduct to achieve that. The Houthis are continuing to threaten shipping and international transit through the Red Sea, which impacts America an awful lot. No, the Iranian regime still is on its front foot, and the Biden administration refuses to acknowledge that or do anything to help Israel prevent that from continuing.
Why not? I don't understand this. I mean, the college campuses and this anti-Semitism raging across America is incredibly serious, and they're not commenting on it.
President Biden is placating the furthest left, furthest progressive, most pro-Hamas element of the Democrat Party in an effort to win votes in November. I can see, I hate to be that cynical, Maria, but I see no other explanation for it. What's happening on these campuses, I saw Speaker Johnson up in New York yesterday. His remarks were pitch perfect. These are mobs. These are thugs. They are threatening minority students there, Jewish students on those campuses. It's time for President Biden to deny them federal funding, not to relieve student loans for any of these people. If they're not here properly or they're here on student visas, we should kick them out. These are simple tasks, including providing security for these students, that the federal government has the capacity to provide, and it should have done it weeks ago. It needs to do it today.
Wow. Secretary, it's great to have you this morning. Thanks very much.
Maria, thank you. Have a great day.
And to you, Secretary Mike Pompeo.